Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your mostly weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Took a week off last week for FanFest, and as such we now come to you with many a show to discuss the many a thing that was many a discussed. Some of which we wish we didn't have to relive, but for your sake I guess we'll do it anyway. Anyway, let's get started. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, Mr. Happy Pulver. Of course, joining me is Slyh, aka Slythefox, aka Slyh, aka Greyfox, aka that fucking Wookiee that some of you heard before the start of the show. How you doing, Slyh?
I'm good.
I'm good. He's dreading thinking about some of the things we're gonna have to talk about today, so I already know it. Oh, man. And now, originally, this was going to be a Four Horsemen show. However, one of the Four Horsemen is on a plane back to Australia, losing an entire day. So, yeah, that just happened in the chat also. So, anyway, we brought on one of the Four Horsemen, and he's kind of bringing the fourth one in spirit. Ethis can't be here, but you're damn right we got very Merri. How you doing, Merri?
Hi. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it has been. I invited you on a few shows, but you were busy, so... couldn't join us.
Back.
He's back, baby. He's back, and he brought Ethis with him, as all of you can see on the screen. That's a fresh picture coming right out of FanFest, right there. Where
this is the first time I'm seeing the picture.
Where Ethis brought his wiener.
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys are gonna get to, if on the audio only version, I highly recommend going over to YouTube and looking at what the image is. So, but he got a hot dog from Wetzel's Pretzels. That's all you need to know. I got a
greasy pretzel, and it was really good.
Yeah, Wetzel's Pretzels is good for when you just don't care, like in the moment. You're just like, whatever. My stomach is quite set with this. I'm glad Sly's really enjoying the image right there.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ethis is going to be pleased when he gets off the plane and sees that was his representation in the show.
I think we both have been warning people, like, this is going to be a show. This is going to be like one of probably the weirdest shows we probably ever done.
Only one part's going to be weird, Slyh. The rest is going to go pretty much as we anticipated before.
Is it? Yeah.
There's only one part, and Merri knows because we've prepared a segment for it.
I was expecting, Ethis's,
Well, I guess Ethis's wiener is pretty weird too, but that's like, we're used to that. All right, like this show is used to Ethis's wiener.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're absolutely used to that. So expect us to kind of break up a lot of these topics into more detailed topics as the weeks progress. There's a lot of stuff that I think we'd probably want to spend a whole show about individually. Blue Mage being an example, World Visiting being an example. But we're gonna try to just go over what we heard from our first of our three FanFests regarding the announcements for the expansion, and try to keep it within a reasonable time frame. Does that sound okay, gentlemen?
Sounds good. I have raids at 9, so 2 hours.
There you go, 2 hours. So we'll keep a condensed to that. Anything we don't get through this week, we'll get through in another. So let's get started with that. First of all, we have the opening keynote to talk about, which I feel like is pretty simple because they don't give us a whole lot of deep information out of opening keynotes for North America. We have confirmed the title of the expansion, Shadowbringers. I've heard some people having copyright strike issues with including reactions and whatnot to the trailer. So that's usually just YouTube's audio thing, like clicking just because a song is present. So we're gonna just leave it out of the show just to make sure we don't get hit with anything of those regards through YouTube's automatic system. But I highly recommend going to watch it because I don't know about you guys, but this could be the full trailer and I'd be pretty content with it. And it's probably not the full trailer.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
There's got to be more.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess a Realm Reborn, obviously, Bahamut still wins. But I mean, post a Realm Reborn, end of an era style thing. Like, this is better than Stormblood Heaven's Word for me at the very least.
Oh, 100%.
This is going to be a pretty dark expansion, some would say, in terms of the content. Listen.
Just right out the gate. Right out the
Good one.
Jesus.
So Shadowbringers was confirmed as the name. We had suspected this a while back when it had come. How do we feel about that? How do we feel? Some people just don't want it simply because it's SB again.
SB again.
Everyone's arguing over, is it SAHW? Is it SB
2?
SB2? Is it, what's another one?
SBG.
SBG is another one. Shadowbringer. Yeah. Like everyone, there was, I think, legitimately a Reddit thread discussing what we should call Shadowbringers.
SB2, Electric Boogaloo.
Is that where your vote lies? Do you want it to
Yes.
be SB2? What about you, Slyh? What do you want to? Where do you want to do it?
I just
Aloha, what the fuck? Aloha's meowing his
I just
little
wanna keep
fucking
it
head off.
I just want to keep it as simple as possible, so I could deal with SB2.
SB2?
I like SB, actually, to be honest.
Dude, I'm waiting for XXSHDWXX. There you go. Ultimate Edge name.
Nice.
If it was releasing for the Xbox, it would make more sense, but no word on that, and probably never will get word on that. So, last time I said there was never going to be word on something that would fucking happen 2 days later, so who the hell knows? Looking at you, 14-15 collab that we heard nothing about this weekend. So, yeah. This trailer mostly depicts, as we later found out in the opening keynote, that the Warrior of Light will be becoming the Warrior of Darkness. Pretty substantial turning point in the story. I don't know if you gentlemen agree.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any implications with this? Because we'd have to almost think that this would put us like aligned with Zodiark, but then there's also the thought that maybe it's just independent of the entities and that we're just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it, or
bringing a little balance.
Are we going to be perceived as evil by people because, you know, their views on the world are pretty, I guess in the most literal sense, black and white?
Oh my. It's the Thanos expansion.
Yeah.
We got to make sure everything is perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
There you go.
I was hoping we'd get through this show without mentioning Thanos or Thanos' dick.
Well,
you were already wrong.
You don't mention the dick. I didn't even bring that up.
I gotta let Aloha in my fucking office. I just kicked him out of the office before we started the show.
Yeah, it's purple expansion. It's Thanos.
And then he ran away like an asshole. Yeah, there you go. Shadows are purple. Purple
Yeah.
Thanos. There you go. Makes perfect sense. But yeah, the trailer, 3 minutes, 19 seconds, would highly advise doing it. And the theme, which I think they said Soken is the one in charge, because Uematsu is on medical, like he's on medical leave. He's not doing any work right now. So Soken, this is the first main theme that Soken's been in charge of. And off to a good start.
Mark.
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
You haven't even heard the full song yet, and
see,
I'm excited to hear the rest of it.
That's why it's not the full trailer, because I got to have the whole song.
Dude, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for that whole song because it's pretty dope, and it's completely different, like feeling wise. Like all the previous ones were, I guess not really Stormblood, but Heaven's Word and A Realm Reborn very similar between Dragon Song and Answers. Different songs, but you know,
they were powerful. Where this one's just like fucking metal. It's hype.
Yeah, this shit brought the energy. I don't think there was a single quiet person in that room when they fucking heard this and saw the actual trailer happening. Although the trailer, one thing that's a lot of people have pointed out, and I'm wondering if this is just a work, because we remember back in the Heaven's Word trailer where they had 1 million Hraesvelgers flying around. I'm wondering how much relevance there is in what enemies they included in this, because they're all from Amdapor. Gremlins, the Karibu or whatever it is, and the second boss, whatever its name was.
The lion statue.
The lion statue. So I'm wondering how much that is actually relevant in terms of the actual trailer, or if they were just handed a bunch of enemy models and said, yeah, this shit's cool. Make something out of this.
I'd imagine it's relevant. Just because of the idea of like shadow and those type of enemies, besides the gremlin, representing light.
But at the same time, like getting bodied by Amdapor mobs, like we're stronger than that.
But I don't know if that's an Amdapor mob. because the Kuriboh is a statue. The thing in the trailer is not a statue. It has flesh.
Well, from what I remember, the statues that get possessed in Amdapor are based off of real
angelic beings from another realm or something, which is probably what that is.
Yeah, to paraphrase, something along those lines. So these could be the organic forms that those statues were based off of, which is the most likely thing, as opposed to these legitimately being Amdapori in any sense of the word. Just because white magic's not directly correlated with light, it's correlated with the astral elements. So could just be that they went with these enemies because they're like light type enemies of some kind. But anyway, it was dope as fuck. I know everyone's looking at the trailer where he job changes 5 times, being like, so we're going to be able to job change in the middle of combat next expansion, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I have something to say about that.
Oh, of course you do, Merri. I should have known with you as a Final Fantasy 11 player. I should have known.
No. Listen. He started out in his 1.0 gear, right?
Oh, yeah. He goes 1.0, then through all the trailer. Yeah.
He never leveled his archer. That's why he still had that gear set. He's like, oh man, I gotta level my archer. I haven't touched it yet since 1.0.
Well, maybe he shouldn't have brought it into a level 80 zone.
Yeah, well, that's why he swapped. He's like, oh crap, dude.
His Dark Knight was the only thing he had at 80. Everything else was at 50, 60, and 70, so he got shit on.
Yeah.
His Dark Knight was the only thing at 80. He had limited leveling. God, everything's gonna be limited.
Is that gonna be the theme of the show? Limited everything.
Yeah. No, it's a recap, but it's gonna be limited everything.
Okay.
So after we get past that, and we confirm Shadowbringers is the expansion. We get to see the title screen for the first time, and a lot of people have been pointing out this is the first title logo that we are alone.
Yep.
Which is pretty substantial because we're gonna talk about how I feel like it means a little more than maybe we initially intended. Because the theme of alone popped up a lot throughout the opening keynote in the live letter. So I'm hoping it's more of a like a I gotta do this myself kind of thing, but I'm gonna meme on it a little bit at the same time.
Oh, we missed something important in the trailer.
What's
the
that?
Gunblade.
The Gunblade.
And that Fankred's looking like a boss. Dude, he's looking straight out. He's looking like straight Dante out of Devil May Cry right there.
He's looking fully healed too. No patch,
he was.
bandage.
Didn't at some point he says he kept it for the ladies or something?
Yeah, he says so. Yeah, he says something like that.
Yeah, he's been healed for a little bit. He's being stupid.
He doesn't have any ether. That's still the thing, though.
Yeah.
That's probably the big reason why he has a Gunblade there is because he's still like he can't tap into ether pretty much, which is why they said he couldn't teleport back in like 3.3.
Yeah.
He also just looks way older.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I don't know if that's just like the CGI design that he just looks years old. It could be taking place years later. They do say it years ago, something. So yeah.
Yeah, it could.
A lot of people are talking about time skips.
It's not.
I don't know what to think of.
Listen, I'd rather have a time skip story-wise than go back in time story-wise and like do old shit. Like I'd rather than be like, like a few years have passed in game, yada yada yada, as opposed to anything else. Personally,
like because of this and because of this whole time skip conversation, I can kind of forgive the how old are we question at Q&A. It's not. I don't think it's Peaches. No,
I didn't think it was. So that question, which we're skipping ahead a little bit, the question about the age, it was just like a fancy way because there's a huge question amongst the lore community of whether the game takes place in a time bubble that stretches, where like it's like the whole events take place within a year, but as events happen, it kind of fills out the year, so the year just keeps stretching to fill new things. Which I think at this point is pretty much, I think with that trailer, at least at the very least, if it was like that before, it wouldn't be like that anymore. People are just trying to get that answer to see how long it's actually been.
I think they might not have one like really concrete, which is why they didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, maybe. Either way, we got Shadowbringers, and then we go into the rest of the opening keynote. Of course, they hit us with all the usual new raids, new dungeons, new areas, new all these things that you're used to seeing a million times, so we won't tell you anything about them. We won't.
of course we won't.
Not yet. They showed off a few areas. They did show off a few areas. They showed off the I have them over here somewhere. The Gratika Great Woods. Gratika. Yeah, there you go. So we have the Great Woods, which I can imagine a certain race of people living there. You know, like
the tree village. Yes.
Yeah, like villages in the tree. What's another game where I've seen like villages in trees and like
Star Wars, maybe?
Yeah, no, Star Wars. Yeah, that could totally be it. That makes sense. There's totally a few other places I could think of, but Final Fantasy, man, I'm thinking maybe 12. There's a place they would communicate with the wood giggity, and that was kind of a big thing. What else was there? They also showed off Amarang, which sounds very draconic in history. So hopefully, I'm really hoping we get to see one of the two remaining dragons that are still missing, Vertra and Azdaja. We still got two more, and that just looked cool. We didn't really get much information about what Amarang is, but it's looking pretty cool. But this is like all the kind of stuff that we kind of knew going into this was like, there's not really going to be too much to discuss here.
Right.
It's when they started talking about new things that the discussions really began, I'd say. So where do we start in regards to new stuff that was brought up in the keynote?
Well, they did mention battle system maintenance, and that's just goes without saying at any expansion.
But one thing that doesn't go without saying, and I know you're getting there,
the removal of TP.
Well, more like the consolidation of TP and MP. Like they're becoming one resource, not two different resources anymore. They could still just call it MP. It could literally just be the removal and the
because we have a lot of questions about this. How is this going to affect certain role actions and
dude, role actions? I'm thinking about certain jobs, man. Dark Knight and Paladin saw that and they're like,
yeah. Red
Dude,
Mage kind of to an extent.
The melee combos use TP.
Yeah.
And then you have all the abilities like Goad, you have Refresh Tactician, you have
Invigorate.
You have Foe's Requiem. You know, all of a sudden, every single ability that's immediately connected to MP and TP, everyone's now looking at and going, okay, what's going on here? Like those skills are obviously at the very least being adjusted to say the new thing. And then you have to imagine either Refresh or Tactician is getting the boot, and they're not going to try to keep both of them around and just change one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually substantial to even just tell us that. Now, I feel like that's a bigger like battle change drop than we've ever had prior to like a month or two before the expansion, because that's pretty massive.
Yeah, it's really going to mix up what we have going on right now. That's for sure.
What do you think they do for jobs that are used to utilizing both resources? Do you think they try to maybe make the job gauges actually play into the job a little bit more?
I think some shit gets nixed outright.
Dark Arts.
I have a really hard time wrapping my head around what they might do with like Dark Knight and Paladin. It's just...
Yeah,
I think I see where Paladin and Dark Knight. I always imagine just like changing the values that are used by the blood gauge and the oath gauge to like, you know, Holy Spirit takes oath gauge in, you know, a certain amount of oath gauge. But even then, it's like, I guess without sitting down and really calculating it out, the numbers on that just look weird because it's just you're used to as a Paladin using it for like a Sheltron and maybe an intervention, and that's it.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden the idea of this bar being like your actual main resource for the job could be interesting. I'm far more interested now in the battle changes than I was in the last one when they mentioned consolidating them, which we kind of already know they're going to do again. So
yeah.
Oh man. So that's kind of the one big battle change. They said that we're going to get some other changes more immediately later on to Monk. For example, they mentioned might see some changes in 4.5. They mentioned White Mage and Machinist for 5.0 changes. Machinist, they seem to put a lot more emphasis on. And we know they're working on a Dark Knight rework based on old school thing. Now they have no choice, but
But do you really think these changes are going to be like substantial? Because like you're getting big changes in 5.0. So they can't really go too ham.
Well, the monk changes in 4.5-ish. I don't expect to be too bad. I think they're just going to keep. I think they're going to probably work on the punishment of misusing Tornado Kick, because right now, if you use Tornado Kick properly, it's massive, but misusing it is massive in the other direction. So it's probably the biggest skill discrepancy that monks have seen if they're trying to utilize that as opposed to just going for the standard no TK. So I think they might give you kind of like, you know, the Dragoon treatment. You know, you guys constantly got kind of like fail safes for when things would not line up properly, or, you know, any sort of mistake was made. I have a feeling they'll do that for monk. I don't think they need it, but I think that's what they'll do. As for the other ones, I think they're just all 5.0 changes. You can't do anything massive in 4.5.
No. You can lay a little bit of framework, but
yeah, that's about it. They got to start laying a lot of framework, because this MPTP thing's gonna blow us out of the fucking water.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we got into some stuff that was brand new, stuff that is we had nothing like it in the game prior. The first being the trust system. Now, Merri, you're also familiar with Final Fantasy XI and the trust system. I am also very familiar with it. Aloha, I swear to fucking God. Dumb fucking cat. I opened the door and he ran away. And now he's outside the door again. And if I open it and he runs away again, I'm going to be very upset. So I'm going to start this topic and I'm going to check on the damn cat. So trust. In Final Fantasy XI. Actually, Merri, do you want to explain what trusts were in Final Fantasy XI while I go deal with this furry little problem?
So in Final Fantasy XI, they added a system known as the Trust System, which essentially allowed you to recruit NPCs into your party. And so you could have tanks, healers, casters, you know, various DPS, and they would use abilities and fight with you. And they would essentially fill the role of a party to a point where you could solo with them. You could go out and kill high-level enemies with your trust party.
Now
sounds good on paper.
Sounds good on paper, but 14 isn't 11.
No.
It's the line's getting a little hazier as of recent years, as of the last year, but you know, 14 is not 11. And so trusts are really more of a failsafe for people with long queues in Final Fantasy 14. They specifically mentioned that trusts would join you in dungeons, for example, to help you get through Shadowbringers content, where, you know, you may not have the time to sit around and wait for other players. They said other players will absolutely be better because they openly admitted that the NPCs are a little dumb from time to time, but this is meant to be an alternative for people who don't have a lot of time. Give up efficiency for, hey, at least I can fucking do something, pretty much.
Or if you want to kind of immerse yourself in the story that much more, you know, go through the dungeon with the Scions or whoever else, maybe, who knows.
Yeah, they didn't really say if like you got to pick the trusts you brought with you, or if it was just going to autofill trusts based on roll. We'll find that out later at some point. But I'm okay with this, because I say that my only concern was they mentioned Shadowbringer dungeons. This is not something that needs to be Shadowbringers. I think maybe they might be thinking squadrons. I'm gonna fucking knock you out, cat. I think that they might be thinking Shadowbringer dungeons because they're new. They probably need to make sure people have an easy time getting through them. But there's a lot of low-level dungeons that you cannot use squadrons in. They're adding more and more, and maybe they make that change too, where they, like, every low-level dungeon has squadrons. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's in the cards. So this is kind of something that helps pretty much players of all levels if they actually utilize it properly. Because there's the thing, when you're first going through, you can't use squadrons for your first time going through dungeons, because you need to be level 50 with like second lieutenant, whatever the private second class. I don't even know what it's called anymore. So but do we think that this kind of defeats the point of playing an MMO? Because that's going to be a point of discussion a lot here. Is do features like this kind of defeat the point of playing an MMO, which is literally the word online is a pretty key aspect of it?
I don't think so. When we are asking for stuff like chocobos in dungeons, like it's not really the same thing, but at the same time, I hear aloha. But at the same time, when you ask for stuff like, you know, companions in a dungeon that aren't, you know, aren't a player character, like you lose the MMO feel that you originally signed up for, in my opinion.
Right, but I mean, Yoshi P himself specifically said this isn't going to replace parties. It's still going to be limited. What he had said specifically was more along the lines of this is going to be for newer players who haven't really, made the transition into playing with other players. Maybe they want to kind of get a better feel for the game and dungeons before jumping in with actual players. The idea isn't to just, be this big system that'll just replace people. It's just kind of like a tutorial for newer players.
Yeah, the idea is that these NPCs, they want the NPCs to kind of teach you what, I guess, etiquette is in regards to dungeon performance. So I'm hoping that means that the healer better DPS. But she told a better fucking DPS. That's all I gotta say. I think she will. The Conjurer, the Squadron 1 DPS is like a lot. So
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I'm pretty sure they will. And that once you've kind of learned what is kind of like the baseline etiquette with the trusts, then you go into dungeons and you kind of can look at the trusts you were playing with almost as like at least a baseline role model of what your performance should be like. You should be better than a fucking NPC, and I'm not 100% confident people will be. But I think that's the idea.
Okay. I feel like it gives but at the same time, I feel like it gives a false example. And I don't mean like, what I mean by this is, say you are like somebody's trying to learn a healer and they go in using the trust system with someone that's a tank, and it's fine. And the tank is, pulling, a little conservatively. And then like, okay, I'm ready to go into a dungeon with a person. And then the tank pulled like everything in like half of Texas and they can't heal. And they're like, what the fuck did trust teach me? So yeah, that's why I'm saying like it could create a, false sense of security of what they learn. I mean, honestly, the best way to learn is to jump into the deep end or get thrown into the deep end.
I don't necessarily think so. I saw someone in chat mention this, but there's a lot of people that have legitimate like anxiety with tanking or healing specifically.
True.
And absolutely. Having these trusts to kind of like let them get familiar enough before jumping in instead of just jumping in raw,
Right.
It'll still give them a little bit of experience to a point where like, okay, it's going to be more difficult with players probably because they have, big pulls or whatever, or,
right.
me being expected to make big pulls, blah, blah, blah. But at least they'll have that stepping stone instead of just having to immediately jump in and deal with these insane tanks like me. Sorry.
But that's why I'm saying that if it really becomes Shadowbringer Dungeons only, I'm like, that's kind of too late to start teaching that lesson.
Yeah.
Which is why I like, because you can't bring squadrons until you at least have one at 50, it's like, kind of, if they're going to do this, I think they already have the framework in place for a lot of the dungeons. I guess the reason why Shadowbringers, because they seem to imply that whenever they do squadrons, they need to make them work in every individual dungeon as opposed to them just designing them for the dungeon system. So I think that might be why they say that, but I don't, if it ends up being like that, I don't agree with it. I agree with the idea. I think Trust works fine here, especially because I've seen Squadrons. And while Squadrons are better in places like Stone Vigil, for example,
yeah.
As soon as you start doing the level 50 dungeons with your Squadrons, you go, these fucking idiots are...
I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe they've made some leaps in like how they handle mechanics, or maybe they just straight up script them to like...
I think they're just going to make them virtually invincible like they do with Squadrons.
Yeah.
The Squadrons are fucking damn near impossible to kill. Just they're sometimes dumb as dirt.
Yeah.
And you probably won't bring them into level 80 dungeons, for example. Yeah, no expert dungeons, but I don't want that.
No. Yeah, no, of course.
Definitely only dungeons on your way up to max level. At least in my opinion.
Specifically story ones.
Yeah, especially story ones, which the Squadrons can handle for the lower levels. I think the Squadrons, specifically all the leveling dungeons are well, not all of them, because you can't do the first 3. I think you can do, like, Copperbell normal? Or, I'm sorry, Tamtara normal is, like, the only of the 3 level 15s.
Story thing.
Yeah, it's like Tamtara, Thousand Maws, I think is one of them. But yeah, and then Stone Vigil, I don't even remember, fuck it. regardless, yeah, I think they need to be available on the way up.
Yeah.
So so that's the trust system. And then we get to the next one. This next one we're going to dive into the live letter a little bit to talk about, and this is the world visiting system. Slide that.
You remember that from about a year and a half ago?
What, when he mentioned it in like an interview?
Because me and you had the interview with him where I brought that up and we got that answer.
Yeah, that's Merri. You're the reason why we have world visiting, Merri. Thanks. This is fine. This world visiting is the fine part of what we're going to talk about. But world visiting is the concept of basically breaking down another wall between servers. So from the 3 main Aetherites in Gridania, Limsalimits, and Ul'dah, you can actually teleport to another server on your data center. And you'll stay on that server as long as you want. You'll be able to, even if you disconnect from the game or you log out, when you log back in, you'll still be on that server. So you're visiting another world.
Right.
Breaking down, dude, my treasure map parties just got 10 times better.
Hell yeah.
For the people still on Aether.
Yep.
Hey, do both of you have Twitch chat open by any chance?
I do.
I do.
At the top, do you see where it says rooms?
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to click that?
Okay.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
cool.
Huh.
I like it. You're really good at spelling.
Well, that's what it said on the slide.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no EU there. I need chaos and light there. I definitely need chaos and light there. So,
The Aether data center.
yeah, the Aether data center. Yeah. So hunts I actually am not looking forward to with world, because with the world visiting, you can go to the other servers, you can play with the other players, you can do stuff on their world maps. But there are a bunch of limitations that they described still, like you can't sell things on the market board in particular. You can buy things, but you can't sell them.
Which is good.
So I have a question about that. The buying I think is fine, and the ability to stop selling is fine, but there was never any mention of trading.
Yeah.
They didn't mention it, but I think trading would and should be available. And
so then what's the point of stopping selling? Because everyone's just going to shout sell their shit to other servers if it's something like a high-end item.
I don't know. I feel like people might just be like, I'll just go jump and pick one up on another server. I think what it's going to do, honestly, is it's really going to help out smaller servers who have fucking absurd economies where one thing costs, a body that would cost 500K on one server costs like 5 mil on theirs, Yeah. There's like so little crafters. It's really going to help bring the market down, make things more affordable. And I think it's going to be good in the long run.
It's also going to be funny when people... So playing the market board is something people like to do, but you buy on another server and sell on your own. So if you buy something for 500K on one server, you bring it back and sell it for 5 mil on yours. Some motherfucker's about to get loaded.
I don't think that's going to happen.
It is going to happen, but the thing that's going to eventually...
Here's why. Because of the system, someone could, hop around every single server and see the price. And eventually, people are going to do that. Everything's going to hit an equilibrium on every server.
I think that's the plan, is for everything to level out. But the first people to do this are going to get fucking rich.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many items that you can go through before everything is equaled out.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And in terms of going back to trading, another positive side to trading, if this actually happens, is for another thing you have to realize is across data center raiders. Statics who are across like data center, and like you have 2 people on Behemoth and so on and so forth on another server. Now you like the people who need shit like that you would usually do in a static, like say I need somebody to make a body piece or I need some fucking potions and everything. That wasn't available. Now it is. You can just jump on one server and trade, hopefully, and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's a big thing, because I know that while we were raiding over several raid tiers, we had one person on another server, and they couldn't benefit from any of the crafters we had on ours. So they had to, hire their own crafters for a raid patch, for example, over on the other server, drop however many millions on the market board. And so that, and also if they couldn't pentameld, then no one in our group could help them meld, So basically it's bridging gaps like that, which is pretty damn useful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of pluses, and I think for the most part they got almost all the restrictions on point. The ability you can't abuse like multiple legendary nodes, can't abuse multiple jumbo cackpots, multiple tournaments.
Housing.
Yeah, housing you can't abuse by buying houses on other stuff. Like they pretty much got all the baselines down right. It felt like they legit looked at, okay, how is everyone going to try to fuck with us when we release this? And then people are going to say, how did they miss this? We got this. So I'm pretty proud of them overall for them literally spilling all the deets on world visiting and them all pretty much being on point. The only one they said they want to fix is attending weddings, because they're like, you should be able to attend a wedding when you go to another server.
Of course.
I agree with that.
And it was good that they brought that up, because as soon as I saw them, like, you can't even attend? What the fuck? And they were like, yeah, we kind of got to fix that. It's how it is now. How it'll be at launch, but we'll fix it.
Yeah.
So it was good. But that was immediately very bittersweet news for some people.
Yeah, my whole static is probably leaving my data center.
There you go.
Except for me.
For now, that is.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to lose that house. But so this came along with the news that North America and Europe will be receiving an additional data center each. Now, this is not new servers on a new data center. These are existing servers being shuffled around. Europe is getting a new server on each of their now 2 data centers, and I think Europe really needed it. But North America is now being split from 2 into 3. And so some servers are being moved onto the new Crystal data center, which would include servers like
Balmung, maybe? Yeah.
Zalera. 2 very polar opposites there. Mateus. Malboro, I want to say, was one of them.
Yeah.
I don't have the list handy right now, but it's bittersweet, because as that was happening, the crowd was looking at the person next to them being like, I don't play with you anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough. So, Merri, as you've already described your situation, what is your unbiased opinion of this happening and this decision?
All right. So here's what I think. To start, I think it was ultimately a necessary evil. Dividing the servers up and spreading them out and not having so many on, just one data center is definitely going to hopefully help with connectivity issues and all that. That's plain to see. What I disagree with, however, is the way they divided the servers up. And also, to a certain degree, the way the player base is reacting. Now, this is just my opinion. I understand, it's not the player's fault for thinking this way, because it's up to SE to provide the infrastructure for us to get together with the people we want to get together with. But what I'm seeing a lot of right now is people already going about and basically putting labels on data centers. And personally, I feel like that's ultimately just going to lead to the same issue we had already, which is overpopulation.
And when Balmung is on Crystal and you're worried about overpopulation of the other 2 data centers, that label's a big problem. Because Balmung, you'd expect like that Crystal to now be at risk of being the overpopulated one, because Balmung has always been a monster.
Yeah.
But it's the mentality's going the other way.
Yep. Everyone wants to shift away, which is also something, but I don't want to get into that because that's a whole other can of worms. But guys, don't feed into the Balmung Crystal hate. Just don't.
Yeah, chat's put it this way: like Balmung has a good PvP community, a good raiding community, as do some of the other servers on that list. It is kind of strange they took the 2 servers known for being roleplay servers and stuck them on the same data center. I was kind of surprised at
that was too coincidental.
And also what servers ended up on Crystal altogether. I think like that whole list was kind of lopsided for what Crystal got. Like I'd expect to see like Excalibur over there instead of Excalibur's Primal, so that's a bad example. Excalibur instead of maybe Malboro, for example. Because Excalibur, I'd say of the like not top rating communities on or like the most top populated rating community is still a pretty solid one. Leviathan is also a very strong, especially in recent months, a very strong rating community. And they're still stacked in the other places versus Crystal, which kind of just got servers that, you know, Mateus and other than Mateus and Balmung, like are mid pop or low pop. So it just felt like I would have maybe taken this a little bit better if they had taken certain other servers. But then at the same time, you run the risk of splitting the rating community more by taking the popular rating servers and moving them.
Yeah.
I mean, but what statistics were they really looking at when they did this whole infrastructure change? Like, was it just population? Was it, like, I go back to Lucky Boncho data and look at that and like really think, what were they thinking? Like, not in a bad way, but kind of in a bad way. What were they thinking when they decided what servers should go on to Crystal and what servers should stay? Now, biased opinion, I'm fucking glad I'm where I'm at. Don't touch me. Leave my server alone. We did nothing wrong. Just my biased opinion. But it and I had this conversation because people were taught. This is one thing that was heavily talked about. I kind of feel like those tags that, you know, servers have and data centers have are going to remain the same because people are already shifting to go back to where they were originally. They want to go to the rating data center. They want to go to the RP data center like that. And then you have basic bitch, you know, just Primal, who is just Primal. We have no label. We're just fucking Primal. But
yeah.
Like,
no, I agree. Primal, literally, it's not the rating. It's not the rating data center. It's not the RP data center. Like, or as long as people are labeling them, it's really only Ether and Crystal people are looking at and giving them labels.
Right. They're just fucking basic, I guess.
Yeah, Primal's just like, hey, we've got a mix of communities here. We're looking honestly, that starts to make Primal look like the best place to go because there's a mix of both. But it's at the same time like people's direct interests shift the most. So people who want to be RP, two RP servers are in the same place. People want to raid. 3 of the most populated raiding servers are in another place. And then Primal's just got like, hey, we've got you know, everything for everyone.
Yep.
So it's just really weird because it does legitimately look like a scale in a sense. And we said this was the Thanos. It's not looking that way based on that.
It's more Sophia.
It's definitely too soon to say how things are going to pan out. But all I know is the reason we're in this situation in the first place is because of overpopulation and people, you know, congregating to specific areas. And if we just repeat the same mistake, it'll just happen again.
Raubon. He's to blame. This is Raubon Ultimate. This split is Raubon's last deed before the end of Stormblood. Because I think that's the biggest reason they did this is because of congestion with instances and stuff. Like, this is the final Cold Steel. Unbelievable. Crystal is him growing one of his arms back. Or, depending on how you look at it, it could be the arm that's still laying on the ground.
Is it like Ultima where he just makes a server disappear in the end and it's just one by one? Or
Yep.
like, yeah.
Yep. Basically. So specifically with the congestion, duty finder servers, which are what are used for all the instances and the duty finder stuff, those break regardless of which server you're on in a data center because everyone in the data center is filtered into the same one. So it doesn't matter so much people shifting around too much in the open world. Now, one of the problems they ran into with Raubon was too many people interacting with the same NPC. That was a legitimate issue that gets resolved with congestion, but it doesn't solve everything. So It's pieces all over the place, man. I blame Raubon for this. Raubon is Thanos. He doesn't have a gauntlet because he's missing the arm. He had the gauntlet on. But anyway. Yeah. It's one of those things, if it had happened a year or two into the game's life cycle, I don't think we'd care as much. We'd be over it by now, by the time we're having this discussion. But doing it over 5 years in, it gets tough. It's like one of those things, like, okay, it makes perfect sense, but
yeah, well, how do you think I feel? So I've been on Balmung before it was even a server. Back in 1.0, early access 1.0, I rolled on a server called Besaid. And I've been on that server ever since. And they merged it with Fabul to make Balmung in 1.0. I've been on this server for almost 8 years now. I have so much history and so many friends. And it's just like, I don't want to leave because this is where I've always been. And it just feels weird to leave. And yet a lot of people I know, my whole static, everybody's leaving. And it's like, no matter what I do, I can't win. If I leave my home. If I stay, some of my friends leave. So it's sad either way, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Pretty much.
And because this is kind of ruining a lot of, sentimental reasons for people being on their servers. I guess this begs the question, will or can they walk this back, and how can they?
So the technology is there to walk it back, but I think the existing infrastructure probably makes it not possible, because the way the infrastructure is set up for the servers now probably prohibits them from doing a super mega data center, which is the ultimate end solution would be to have all the servers on one super center, and then world visiting suddenly is the greatest feature to ever exist, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have a feeling the way it's set up, like the technology they specifically put in place when 2.0 came out, which you got to remember, a lot of that shit was done in a hurry to get the game relaunched, after everything that had happened. It might be a problem because of that.
Yeah, probably. Spaghetti code, all that.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. They've moved the data center, so I'd love to believe that at some point, the tech saw serious upgrades, and they've told us they have. But this is happening, so it's a tough call.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ultimately, whatever happens, I think the players need to do their best to not fall into this trap of, like you said, labeling and abandoning.
Yeah, don't be afraid to spread out. There'll be new people to meet, new communities to blossom. Like, give it time, That's what I say.
You can raid anywhere. Just letting you know, you can raid anywhere you want to. You don't need a whole data center to do it.
Yeah.
Some people do, but
There's a lot of people asking. I'm just going to clarify real quick. My static is leaving because I'm staying on Crystal. They want to go to Ether, which is where a lot of the raiding community is going.
And that's the big concern right now.
Yep.
So we'll see how that pans out. But I'm not terribly optimistic about how it falls. And obviously, I'm already on Ether, so I have the hardest time forming a real opinion because I probably won't lose anyone I know to the other. In fact, all I'll be receiving is a bigger pool of people.
Yeah.
Most likely, if this starts, the mob mentality kicks in and it falls through. So I don't know. I want the best for the other data centers. I think Primal's actually the luckiest of the bunch. Personal opinion right now. Just sitting there, they're a spectator to the problem. Somewhat. I'm sure some people will abandon Primal for Ether if that mentality kicks in too. But I think Crystal's the bigger.
They don't even need a fucking reason. They'll do that already.
Sly has no faith in his own data set.
I mean, they do that already, so they don't need a fucking reason.
I think Primal will be fine. I don't think anyone needs to leave Primal. The clear rates between Ether and Primal are pretty good comparatively. Once you take Balmung out, Balmung kind of adds a lot of numbers to that. People already found the total clear rate based on servers for Crystal, Ether, and Primal, and I think Crystal had 1,400 something over 12 Savage clears, and I think Ether had 2,500 and Primal had 21 or 2,000 or 2,100 or something like that. So pretty close together. Even being 1,000 apart on Crystal, it won't stay that way most likely.
Yeah.
And Faye brings up a good point in chat. I cannot wait for the new Lucky Poncho data after this happens.
Yeah. Yeah, there's gonna be. I normally, like, I've gotten kind of used to looking at the Lucky Bancho stuff and kind of being like, yeah, well, you can kind of expect this, expect that, and there's very rarely a surprise that comes out of that data. But it's a little bit. I gotta watch it a little bit closer this time. At least I feel like I do. All right, so I'm pulling up the slides that I tweeted that day as sort of reference points. Let's see. World visiting.
One thing on a lighter note, I'm gonna go over. I think we skipped it.
New Game Plus.
New Game Plus.
I was getting to that. I was getting to that and Holy See and some other stuff they talked about.
I'm stoked.
So,
it's kind of weird.
Isn't this kind of what we asked for, though?
I don't know why we asked for it like this. Because this isn't like pick a quest and replay it. This is replay everything.
Everything.
I don't want to fucking replay everything. I just want to replay the Nada.
But is it necessarily a bad thing, though?
Oh, by the way, the reason we're not commenting on EU is because none of us play on EU, and thus I don't think any of us can.
Yeah, we can't accurately, give you a perspective of it because we're not there. We know people who are there, and they can give you that perspective. We're just not those people.
You literally have Ether, Primal, and soon to be Crystal, one of each of us on the show, but we don't have any of us on EU, so. That's why we can't really provide much of an outlook on EU. We can only presume some of the same problems, and they said that breaking up servers by language is one of the reasons as well, which sounds like a better reason than NA has, but I still don't know how that really pans out over there. Like, all French players in one place and German players. You're like, this is the German data center, this is the French one, or like, these are the servers and what data center you'll find the most of those people on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we're not talking about Europe that much. Why we just ended after talking about Crystal. But the New Game Plus, like, I want to replay individual parts. Like, I want to be able to click a quest in my book, in my in-room, and be like, replay duty. And that's it. I don't want to start at level fucking 1 and work my way through all those fucking quests.
To be fair, it is you at your current level going back and doing all that shit and steamrolling it. So it's not going to take you that long.
No. He said it was going to be scaled up.
I heard him. I misheard. I heard him say it the other way around, where you're just not going to be synced. Like, you'll be level 80, just rolling through. I didn't hear that it was going to sync up, but I'd like to believe it would. I'm
pretty sure I remember him saying basically, you'll be your current level, and then the content will be up to you. Yeah. So, like, if you're level 70, ARR will be level 70.
Yeah, see, I just remember them saying you would play as your level, but I didn't hear them specifically say that they were scaling it up. Whatever, if it's scaled up, better. I think that's better, because as much as I like rolling through these things.
New Game Plus,
right?
Yeah,
which typically is at your level.
Yeah, but I still don't want to do the fucking level. I'm not trying to do the stupid quest where you got to fucking fight off the Gubu like as a level fucking 80. Okay. Like, I'm not trying to do that quest as a level 80.
Of that. Yeah, true.
So it's like, it's half of what I wanted. My bigger thing is, does it let you replay the quest, like all of the quests? Because if it does, then it starts to sound to me like it's more of an option for, like, if I wanted to level an alternate job, like to like re-trigger those quests.
Yeah.
I didn't get that vibe out of this.
That would be cool.
That would, for me, be the best use of it. It would be like if you could reset it and then play through again as another job.
Yeah.
And that would, They did say, I didn't hear them say, they said you could do it through that. So yeah, if you can actually redo all the quests, that is the best thing you can do with it. And that's good. Because there's so many people throughout all the years I've been playing this go, what do I just grind dungeons after the first time? Like, how the fuck do I do this? And it's easy, but fucking hell do I not want to do Palace of the Dead for 60 fucking levels on a new job. So if it works like that, I'd be pretty pleased with New Game Plus from a technical standpoint. And yeah, you can do it on another world. You can do main story quests on another world if you're visiting.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a weird, but this is why, like I was memeing earlier, Shadowbringers, the guy is alone. And like these are all like single player thing, like Trust, New Game Plus, and we're gonna be getting into a big solo big solo point very, very soon. So it was almost funny to me that he was alone. That's just me though. I don't know. Either way, it is new stuff, and we did ask for new stuff.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
I'm optimistic.
Very.
You can also they're also going to be ending support of 32-bit systems.
We saw this coming.
Saw this coming a mile away. They said it'll still work, but you're probably going to start having some issues they can't help resolve if you're still on a 32-bit machine. They said less than 2% of their players are on 32-bit Windows still. So shouldn't be a frequent problem. It's 2018. Like, I understand, like, XP is the best thing that you've ever used, but, like, come on. Like,
who the fuck still uses XP?
XP doesn't even get updated anymore.
I'm sorry. Who the fuck uses XP?
Like, people hold on to, like, operating systems that they have, and they're like, well, fuck upgrading, fuck anything this, fuck that. And it's like, you probably want to upgrade your operating system at this point, you know?
Yeah,
so,
A bit, yeah.
even XP had a 64-bit version. Oh man, yeah, there's a cult of people who use people who use XP in 32-bit systems. So it's scary, man. But yeah, you're fucked if you're doing it. So sorry.
Yeah,
I don't have much to say.
Yeah, get fucked.
And then we got a confirmation of a new playable race. And at this point, none of us had really, paid too much attention to Yoshida's shirt because we're used to it being a job.
It was so
teaser.
Obvious. I can't believe.
Like, I saw the front and it said Bugs Bunny. I'm like, no, this can't be. And then he turned around and like made it a thing. So
yeah. So the playable race is Viera.
Yeah.
We've seen this coming for a while, even though he memed about it at what?
2 FanFests at the very first NA FanFest. They had a panel, and that's when they memed Viera. I think that was when they showed. I remember the April Fool's joke where they did Vianga, where it was Banga and Viera's combined.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I have one thing I want to say about this.
Okay, say it.
So a while back, I was like, you know what? We're going to get Viera in 5.0, and they're going to use the Evilise raids to introduce it. And people said I was stupid, and I was wrong, and that would never happen. And I just want to say, get fucked.
Merry Jesus, ladies and gentlemen.
Very Jesus.
We get some Merry Jesus in chat, please.
Very Jesus or Merry Jesus. Either works. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, there's no disputing it. Viera's happening. No. They also said it's probably the last playable race they'll add.
Yeah.
Probably. So I'm holding out hope for there being another one.
Yeah.
And I think some people are holding out hope for that it's Banga. I'm not one of those people, but okay.
No, the Banga I never thought, because like the only reason why I said the Viera were tough was the feet. That was the only problem I ever had with Viera potentially being one, because Viera's feet are pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
There were high heels everywhere, but I mean that was never so substantial they couldn't overcome it, but it always made me.
They've been like trying to sneak stuff in, like the wolf feet we got from that Halloween outfit kind of have like a Viera foot going.
And I mean, there's also, ironically enough, there's 2 tribes of Vieras already. There's the Venas and the Ravas. There might be more, but those are the only 2 that I know of. So we already have 2 of that. The only question people then come into is about males. I would like to remind people that male Vieras do exist. But
I don't think we've ever seen one.
No,
I'm trying to so I have the page up. Male Viera create separate settlements and only communicate with the females when necessary, as the males are secretive and competitive for food in space.
Time to fuck.
Even with their pretty much they just show up to fuck, and that's it. That's it.
That's kind of like what they did with male Makote in 1.0.
Kind
They're
of
off doing their own thing.
Yeah. So that's the exact description of male Viera. So there still is the question, because there was never any mention of the genders. I think all of us are expecting just to see male, female Viera. There's some people that just think it'll be one gender.
No,
and then there's some people that think that even though they said one new race, they're very clear it's the last one, that there's like one of each. There's like another race that's male only, like they did with... I don't think so. I think they just go male, female. They made it very clear at the beginning of A Realm Reborn.
They showed concept art for male Viera before. Probably going to look pretty similar, honestly.
Yeah. I think it's in chat. Yeah, it's in chat.
Yep, there you go. Viera concept art in 14, and it has female and male.
Probably going to look like that, honestly.
Regardless, even if they didn't have that, they made a pretty solid point in A Realm Reborn to say, yeah, let's get rid of these gender-locked races.
Yeah.
So it seemed pretty obvious to me they were just going to do male, female Viera based on that. Once we confirmed it was Viera in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, that's the 7th playable race. A lot of people have been asking for months, do you think we'll see a new race? I said I wasn't optimistic about it because they've ever spoken about with other races is how annoying they are to model with existing gear. But they've overcome that for this, so they're doing it.
Yeah. And it's just the feet, they just had to go through and redo every single shoe in the game for them. But,
or they redid the Viera feet.
Probably not. It wouldn't be Viera without the rabbit feet thing.
I'm just saying, you don't know. We don't know yet.
You're right. We don't.
Yeah. So Viera, that's it. New race. So all of you who are who are cat people will now be bunny people. I don't see it happening any other way.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe some Lalafels go over, which would be really weird because it's like the polar opposite. But it is what it is.
Yep.
All right. So with that, we thought we were done with the opening keynote. We weren't quite done with... Oh, no, actually, one other thing. Endgame for crafting and gathering.
Yep. Fucking cool.
Is it yet? Is it cool yet?
The way... No.
I think so. What they've said, rebuilding Ishgard, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think it is cool, and it's fucking long overdue. Especially because after they said that, they said, everyone keeps asking, why is Ishgard so like this? When can we fix Ishgard? I want to live in Ishgard.
Mm-hmm. So we fix it, and we build the housing zone.
Yep, that's it. They just tied to a story. They just tied to a story, and we live there. Which I'm okay with. When I asked the question, I just wish there was kind of more on top of it than what it is, because to me, I'm okay with that and creating our housing, like creating the lore behind, creating housing in Ishgard. I'm okay, but it just sounds like an upgraded version of the Enclave.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's that they were setting the foundation with that, and now they're like, okay, we'll expand.
No, the foundation's in Ishgard.
Shut up.
I'm not the one who named it, so.
Oh my god! Why did I choose that word?
Because it was the best word for the sentence, and I've been waiting for someone to say it this whole time.
Encourage. That's what I'm thinking too. If it's like a server-wide effort that built up over time, I think that would be really cool.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they didn't just say, hey, here's the Holy Sea of Ishgard, here's Endgame. Like, they started talking about how you'd be able to, make super, rare stuff that, would really make you stand out on your server for contributing it to Ishgard.
Yeah.
And give you a lot of notoriety. I think that holds a lot of merit to crafters, where their sole output is what they craft. And right now, you maybe have your name on an item, and that's the end of it, so... Some sort of server-wide recognition to your efforts of rebuilding the Holy See is something that, and they said these recipes are going to not be like your normal recipes. They're going to be much tougher, which is weird because I feel like people have crafting figured out. So,
I mean, imagine building a monument, like a big statue, and then you can click on it and it shows the names of people who made it.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. They also mentioned user-controlled farms as another thing there, which is weird because we have gardening, so I'm wondering how a user control... are we final Farmville 14 or what's going on here?
Yeah. It's Facebook.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine because, I don't mess much with crafting and gathering stuff. I'm just trying to... I'm trying to imagine how this fits economy-wise and gameplay and content-wise. Like them saying it is one thing, but people being motivated to do it's another, which is why I mentioned the server-wide notoriety of completing something.
Maybe just an expansion on the gardening system, basically.
That's what I imagine. Something far more involved.
Yeah.
If they put this in and, if they put this in and tie it to the app, that would be the only way I use the app. Tied to
Damn. Way to bring it back and then make it sting all at once.
Oof.
Oof is right. Oof. Don't make the farm could be part of the app, yeah, but don't make the Holy See thing part of the app.
No. Oh God, no.
Don't do that. Give your nuts to Ishgard. I'm glad you like that, Slyh. You're 12 years old as I am for making the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, at that point, so now we're going to backtrack towards the end of the opening keynote. They at the end of it, before we got into the closing ceremony, they mentioned we'd see a familiar face in the final Ivalice raid, as Merri mentioned earlier. There's further information about this where they said Balthier was originally supposed to be in the new 24-man, but at least one of his friends is. One of his close friends.
I'll settle for friend.
Yeah.
I'll settle for friend.
I think most people will settle for friend, which makes sense because we had the Banga in the previous one. So if we were going to see them anywhere, this would be the place to see them.
Yep.
And as we thought we were done, then Matsuda's got a great way of showing up at the end just to wrangle a little bit more out of Yoshipi and their scripted shenanigans.
I love that tradition. It's so good.
It is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yoshipi forgetting things. 'Cause they also were like, "There's one." Koji was like, "Isn't there one more thing?" And he said, "The new playable race."
Yeah.
And then here, at this point, like, we don't even need the trailer at this point. But little did we know the journey we were going to go on when Matsuda walked out on that stage. So he walks out with a pimp cane and a blue cape and a masquerade mask. So he actually looks like he belongs in Vegas right about now. Yeah. And so he then goes, you know what?
Character in P5.
He's like, forget Yoshi P. I brought you a trailer for Blue Mage. And the Blue Mage trailer starts playing and everyone's losing their minds. It's designed very akin to the Final Fantasy V version of the job. It's very far from the Final Fantasy XI version, which I know some people expected to see. And it shows a trailer of him fighting Malboros and learning the action, then fighting a Cactuar and learning the action, then fighting Shiva and learning an action. And at this point, everyone's, all 8 cylinders are just going strong at this point. Pretty much everybody chilling. And then they go to the next slide. And things start to, the ball starts to roll in the opposite direction a little bit because there's a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. They first say it's going to be available at patch 4.5, which shocked everyone. They then immediately followed up with the sentence, the first limited job, in quotes, in Final Fantasy XIV. It then says it's not connected with any class, which we don't expect any jobs to be associated with class anymore. Reiterates that monster actions are learned, and that there would be a Blue Mage only duty. Mm-hmm. And then the final little bit adds a little more concern before we get the full information, in that of it will initially be level capped at 50.
That's where it was. Every point is just linear.
For those who are listening to the audio, Slyh had his hand like a flat, and then as soon as that happened, it just nosedived
down.
Yeah. That was the audience. That was the hype.
Now, see, the audience was confused more than anything at that point because they didn't explain what the fuck any of that meant.
No, we just loved it. We just ate it up and just loved it. We don't know what this means, but okay, all right, sounds good. I want to know more, and then you get to that.
Now, Slyh, Merri, you guys were both at FanFest. What was the number one thing people asked you after the opening keynote?
What do you think about Blue Mage?
What do you think about that Blue Mage?
What do you think? And then that question's immediately followed by, what do you think it may mean by limited job?
Limited job.
I got asked that question a lot, and I had two very distinct answers. Answer one was best case scenario, it's limited to level 50, and they give it a few levels every like month or so leading up to Shadowbringers as a means of keeping you subscribed, so that like it was the carrot on a stick to keep you subscribed until Shadowbringers came out. Unless it's limited up until like right near the end.
Yeah.
I said worst case scenario is Blue Mage is not a job you will use in any sort of content. It's just going to be its own content.
Yeah.
Man, did I not know how on point I was with that. Because, and I did call it worst case scenario. I wish I hadn't, because when we got the information about Blue Mage during the live letter, that was the tune to which it played. It will start at level 1. It will have its own job quests. It will use ranged magic DPS gear and roll actions. And it is the first limited job, meaning it is designed for solo play and not suited to parties.
Man, they're really hitting the head on this fucking solo thing with Shadowbringers.
Dude, the guy standalone, y'all thought he was a Dark Knight? He was just a Blue Mage who learned a Dark Knight skill.
Blue Mage, yeah, exactly.
He's purple. He's the warrior of darkness. You know, you take blue and you make it darker and you get purple, right? That's not how it works, but we'll go with it.
Right.
So before we get into any more of the nitty gritty, I'm gonna be like one of those people who have asked you 1,000 times at this point. I'm gonna start with Slyh because I think Merri's gonna take longer to get through his answer. So what do you think about Blue Mage, Slyh?
I'm not mad. I'm a little disappointed because people had a lot of expectations. People were expecting this to be a 5.0 job. But part of me thought part of me in the back of my head thought they were going to go the ninja route and do something like this. I didn't want that part of my head to be right, but it's right. Some people say that had they, fleshed it out a little bit more, waited. I guess waited wouldn't be the right word, but I'll use waited to implement it into Shadowbringers, it would be a full-fledged job. Okay, great. You can get that what if out of our head like right now. Will I do the content? Yes. I will absolutely do the content. It's content. Why not? Just to see what it's like. Fuck, we've all done Atma before. Most of us have. In this job.
Slyh, I never want that to be a sentence about I don't want this words I'm looking forward to it, I'm gonna do it, and we've all done Atmas in the same sentence.
In the same sentence, right?
I don't want you to ever say that sentence again.
Okay. But this was created by Mr. Atma. So, I mean, why y'all motherfuckers playing Pokemon Go? I don't see why the fuck you mad.
I like how that's the quote to end the Blue Mage discussion. Y'all play Pokemon Go. I don't know what y'all mad about.
Nice.
I don't get it.
That's limited Pokemon right there. Oh man. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. So all right, so is that the end of your thoughts, Slyh?
That's the end of my thought. I'll do it. I'll play Pokemon Go. Gotta catch them all, right? Merri?
All right, boys and girls, strap in. Let's talk.
The good news is I've got meat for this.
Let me pour out.
I got some too in my suitcase. All right, so
yeah, I went through mine.
Here we go. I played Final Fantasy XI. I played Blue Mage. It's a lot of fun. I was not the most fervent calling for Blue Mage because I was excited about, Gunblade. But I was still excited for Blue Mage and I was going to play it. And I'm going to play it, of course. But it was difficult. The balance between what they have and what it could have been, right? Because as somebody who played Blue Mage in Final Fantasy XI and appreciated that, it's really, really, really difficult to say if I would have enjoyed it if it was just forced into 14's formula. It just wouldn't have felt like Blue Mage. And that's fine. A lot of people were okay with that. And like, I don't care if it's just plays, whatever. I don't care if you only learn the abilities through quests and you don't actually have to go out and learn them. I don't care if you just get abilities as you level up, whatever. I just want Blue Mage to be a job I can rate on. And I understand that and I appreciate that. And I'm really sorry for anyone who didn't get that and really wanted it. But on the other side of the fence, I'm appreciative of the fact that they were like, okay, you guys want Blue Mage? We're going to give you Blue Mage the way it's meant to be played. The only problem with that is it's going to be really hard to balance in combat since you're going to have infinitely more skills than everybody else and you can pick and choose. So we're going to make it its own content. And in doing so, I think that for, the side of the fence that they chose, they went with the best possible iteration of that, I think. And I'm casually optimistic about having this new form of content, especially when they name drops maybe Beastmaster, maybe Puppet Master, because that also is really exciting because I love Beastmaster from Final Fantasy 11 as well. Sorry to keep referencing 11, but
I think you have to with this discussion.
Yeah. Beastmaster was fucking fantastic because you could just go out and solo. And so the idea now of like getting a Beastmaster where I can go out and solo with my beasts and all that shit sounds fucking exciting. And then we go on to learn about the content that we're getting with them. And the way I see it is, for all we know, that could be really challenging. There could be like savage level encounters in there where you have these complicated mechanics and you have to use all these different Blue Mage spells at the right time and stuff like that. There's just so much we don't know yet that I'm going to wait until we see how it pans out. But as it stands right now, I'm okay with the way they are doing it. I'm excited to see what they can do with it. I'm excited to see where the limited job system will go. Who knows? It could actually be really good.
So no disappointment from you whatsoever.
I mean, I'm disappointed it's not going to be a job you can rate on. But at the same time,
fair.
I like the idea of new content.
Okay. Like, as do I. So.
More to do.
Yeah, and you, sir, just hit on the point that I was going to start on. This is new content. The word job, very, very disingenuous, I find.
Yeah.
And you and I had a discussion about this, Merri, at the end of the press conference, where somebody had asked them a question about the content cycle and, you guys always do the same. Are there any plans? And they mentioned that, we have been doing new things. We did Eureka, we did Diadem, Lords of Verminion. Like they started naming all the things they did that weren't conventional. And at the end of it, he said Blue Mage.
He did.
And you and I, we looked at each other as soon as we got up and said, he said Blue Mage was new content. Now, to be fair, a new job is new content. But Blue Mage, to me, is like similar to pretty much any other form of content in the game, where when you were done with it, you're done with it unless it gets updated again. And that's why I don't like it being called a job, even if it's a limited job and it's a new term that's being established in the first place. Because it set a precedent 24 hours in advance that stirred in our brains to then reveal that you'll never be a Blue Mage main in this game. Because it's literally not going to be used for dungeons and raids conventionally, I should say. And it's going to have a level cap that's lower. There's no mention of when the level cap's going to increase, when we should expect new Blue Mage content. Whereas with a normal job, the content that you do never ends with those jobs. It ends when you're tired of playing the game, pretty much. Or you're tired of playing that job. This has a literal finite end to it. And for that, I just didn't like the way they went about presenting it. That being said, I'm okay with the way they're doing it. I'm okay with this basically straight up Blue Mage as authentic as possible minigame, followed by this carnival that is going to require you to collect as many of the abilities as possible and set up the right sets, even though we all know everyone will standardize that shit after 2 weeks anyway, and anyone who wants to do it will just really need to look up what to do and then make sure they have at least enough of a brain to figure out when to use said spells. I am in the boat where I would have accepted consolidations to the job's identity to have it be like every other job. Now, I don't mean like every other job exactly in the sense that they can't innovate with it at all. I feel there is room to innovate with it and still make it Blue Mage. And it's just weird that now, after so many jobs, they've pretty much given up their identities from other games that it meant so much to do it for Blue Mage. Dark Knight's not a tank in most of the other games. It could be tank E, but it's used to being an HP sacrificing, heavy hitting DPS. Red Mage is used to be a jack of all trades, master of none. And these jobs, they consolidated their identities for 14. And yet we still kind of look at them as, this is a version of Red Mage, this is a version of Dark Knight, whatever, that's our game's version. I don't know why Blue Mage was that precious that they felt like risking this concept with it.
I think there's definitely a lot more to it, right? And it's setting a precedent moving forward for future limited jobs, basically. And they're essentially establishing this new form of content that they're going to just continue to add to.
Yes.
And what's really exciting about thinking it in that way is these are going to be jobs that are not beholden to the formula that we're used to. So they could, in theory, do whatever they want with them.
Here's the thing, until we know what the update cycle looks like for me for Blue Mage, I'll be kind of reserved about most things. Mm-hmm. But for me, I look at Deep Dungeon and how I got one of those an expansion with maybe a patch that updates it, like Palace of the Dead. They continued on to go up to floor 200, and with Heaven on High, they didn't even do that. And I fear for Blue Mage in that same regard that Eureka, as much as I don't like the first two versions, at least they were consistent and got it to a third and a fourth because it was the relic weapon. Blue Mage, I don't think they're going to be as consistent with Blue Mage. I'm looking at Blue Mage and being like, are you my new Eggy Glamour? Should I expect you never?
Yeah.
I get one update and I'll never see you again.
It's really hard to tell one way or the other. And that's why I'm just kind of sitting here like, I'm not going to hate on it. I'm not going to praise it. I'm just going to wait and see how it pans out. It's really all anyone.
I'm in that boat, man. I would have been okay with a consolidation of the job's identity to make it usable in anything. And I think they could still do it. It would just take so much effort. There's almost no feasible way. It seems like the big thing is elemental weaknesses, but if Fire Breath, Thunder Breath, and Water Breath all have the same potency and just different elements, then all of a sudden, consolidating that's not a big issue.
Yeah.
You literally are just picking the one that, maybe you have one breath attack, maybe you have one defensive attack, maybe, I don't know, and then all of a sudden it's more about skill glamour than anything else, but I haven't seen the skills, so I can't say that. So, yeah, it's just...
We'll just have to see, see.
I'll probably enjoy the shit out of the Carnival.
Oh, yeah.
And Blue Mage itself. Dude, I already have mapping out a way to power level someone's Blue Mage to 50 if they don't want to learn any skills along the... I can do it in an hour and a half, I think. 1 to 50.
Oh,
yeah. Well, back in A Realm Reborn, I did 1 to 34 in 3 hours, and that was slow. So with all the things they've added since, I think I could do 1 to 50 on Blue Mage with the boosted EXP, Road to 60. With somebody else who actually has Road to 60, because I wouldn't have it. I think I could get them to 50 in an hour and a half. They just wouldn't have any fucking skills, so wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't think this was when my fucking favorite job was going to get name dropped. I've been asking for Puppet Master for years. The last time he mentioned the Puppet Master, he said, yeah, I never even considered that, so no, we don't have any plans.
Yeah.
That's the last time he ever mentioned it. Beast. And here's the thing. You notice the one common theme about the 3 jobs you named? They're all collection jobs. Blue Mage collects skills, Beastmaster collects pets, and Puppet Master collects attachments.
Yep.
They're all collection-based jobs, so... I want my Puppet Master, but do I want it in this capacity? I'm down for Puppet Master being a tank and just literally just fucking holding the puppet up. Just be like, hit him, not me. I don't fucking want it. Get out of here.
Yeah, I like collecting things and progressing my characters. So part of me, I don't hate the idea of it.
I can't hate the idea because I haven't played it yet.
Yeah,
that's the fact. I literally can't hate it because I
can.
haven't played it.
You can hate the idea of something. You can't hate the content itself without having a chance to actually try it. But
you can have an opinion about it, but to just outright say I won't do it because it's not what I expected or wanted in this job feels a little bit childish.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, don't knock it till you try it. That's always a thing.
Yeah.
I would just say be cautiously optimistic or cautiously pessimistic.
Yep.
Depending on which I like, lean a little bit back towards, like 1% back towards whatever side it is, but be ready for either or.
Yep.
Oh man. But yeah, limited jobs. I mean, could be a new style of content that we never had before, and if Blue Mage has done well, like I didn't think Pyros was going to be good. And Pyros, I'm willing to say, is good at this point.
Yeah.
It's got some issues, but so does everything else in the game. Every game has issues somewhere, so.
Yeah. And I'm real excited for the next one. Ooh.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed on that one, big time.
Yeah, please.
And that was how they actually wrapped up the opening keynote. We dived a lot into the live letter at this point, though, thankfully, so we don't really need to spend too much time talking about, they showed off like different skills Blue Mage could learn, and they clarified you don't need to be hit by the skill, you only need to see it, but you don't learn it 100% of the time. Yeah. So
48 skills, you can set 24.
Yeah. They're getting Mighty Guard. They'll probably have White Wind. They can learn primal abilities. They've and the log will tell you where to find it, but not what teaches it to you. But when it says shit like Bowl of Embers, you'll probably figure those ones out pretty quick. Yeah. If it goes and says the final coil turn 4, I think I already know what I'm going to be learning at this point. So yeah, I'll just wait and see. Wait and see. What else came out of that live letter? I mean, they went over all the 4.5 stuff. We confirmed Serrha is going to be the last of the 4 lords, so Koryu is either going to be part of the Serrha fight, which I'm not optimistic will happen, or it's more likely a solo trial where you work with the 4 lords to beat him, which is, I think, the route they're going to go. Hydatos, which will have the public dungeon, where Logos action is going to be a lot more important. I have a feeling one of the big things is going to be so one thing they introduced in Pyros, they were pretty quiet about it, was the different elements have different stat differences. Like wind mobs have over 100% evasion, so you can miss. So I have a feeling shit like feint and like accuracy buffs in some cases are going to be pretty fucking important in the next zone and paralyzing certain bosses and dispelling certain, like I have a feeling those are going to be the kind of things that
would be fucking fantastic. I would love that.
Maybe there's a boss that only casts magic, but it does 99,999, so you have to reflect every. Listen. Who knows? Yeah, who can say what it'll be? Nobody knows. So and then we.
Oh, there's one. Blitzball.
I knew it was coming. I was going in reverse order so I could do it last, but you just jumped right ahead.
Or snowboarding, maybe.
No, it's probably Blitzball. I've consolidated. I don't know why I like the word consolidated so much tonight. I've accepted that it will be Blitzball.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be the battle square. I don't think it'll be snowboarding. I don't think it'll be another leap of faith. Because they wouldn't have kept it a secret like they did. Yeah, it's new content.
Mm-hmm.
It could be fucking sick. I'm excited.
If it's anything like OG Blitzball, then just count me out.
I kind of hope they go with it where we get to control our character.
I mean, you technically got to control the character in the original. You just then went into a turn-based menu that gave no fucks about what your actual stats were. Hey, my defense is 12 and his attack is 4. Let me lose 11 defense. Fuck you.
I mean, I could see it being like, PvP in that you have a set amount of skills, but it's like Blitzball skills. Like a pass and a tackle or like an intercept or what, like there's cool things they could do with that. So you have full control at all times.
Can they just give me a Blitzball minion and I'll go play Lords of Verminion instead?
They will, however, need to fix the back of the net cheese. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
I'm stoked for it.
Listen, if it's good, it's good. I say it about everything. If it's good, it's good. Who cares? Like, it's the same thing about Blue Mage. If it's good, it's good. Great. I'm not optimistic about this. I've played Blitz. Unlike Blue Mage in 14, Blitzball I've had way too much experience with in the games it's from. So if it's exactly like those, already count me out. And then the concern is if it's different, then is it good in the first place?
I'm excited to hear more about it.
I'm willing to listen.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then if it's not Blitzball, I'm gonna buy a cake and just stick my whole face in it.
You heard it.
You heard it, chat.
Everybody heard it.
It's Blitzball for mobile. It's in the mobile app only. Gold Saucer edition to the mobile app. Oh man. Yeah, it's probably Blitzball. I've accepted it. It's Blitzball. New rival wings. The Hidden Gorge.
Not exactly.
Hell yeah. I'm cool with that.
I was okay with I didn't like that Astrologos took a lot of the power out of the player and stuck it in the machines.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is less about the giant machine. It still has the giant towers, which makes me think it's going to have the exact same machines.
Trains that you can run you over. That's cool.
Goblin trains that, run shit over that are probably the new equivalent of go mid. But if it's good, it's good. Last Rival Wings for me. I'm still waiting on another Seas map. We haven't had a good PvP mode since fucking Seal Rock, so.
What makes me excited about this is maybe we'll finally get a roulette for Rival Wings.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely going to be a Rival Wings roulette with this.
Yeah.
Which means maybe those queues will actually happen outside of just Saturdays when the community does the Rival Wings night. But
Revival Wings.
Fucking
Revival.
Shouldn't have to be called that.
It is, though.
I know.
Oh, man. I'll reserve judgment, as I've said 3 times so far.
Mm-hmm.
If it's good, it's good. Great, good, great, grand, wonderful. No yelling on the bus. All right, that's all you need. If you know what movie that's from, I'm proud of you. Oh man, Hydados, Wreath of Snakes. They showed off the QB mount, which will be for collecting all the doggos. Yep. Thing looks pretty cool. I'm never gonna get it, so it doesn't matter.
Hear that?
Doesn't matter to me. I ain't never gonna get it. I don't have a single dog, so.
Oh geez, I have
one.
I've lost a lot of them, but I haven't won a single dog. So, and I'm not starting my Byakos now. So, good fucking luck.
I'll get it in 5.0.
Not me. Not me.
Just farm totems.
That still requires going anywhere near Byako. Really don't like doing Byako. I struggled to do him 10 times back for my weapon. I don't want it. We confirmed the last location of the Evolution Raid, the Orban Monastery, which should be very familiar and is honestly, if you're going to pick a tactics location, the only tactics location I think you should pick. Although they said that, is it really the Orban Monastery? Something they hinted something deeper is going on in there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what pretty much every what's interesting is the previous Evilise raids were Final Fantasy 12 locations that became Final Fantasy Tactics locations.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Tactics location. I'm wondering if it stays a Tactics location or if it goes to a Final Fantasy 12 location.
A 12 location. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm wondering. That's gonna be dope. They showed off the gear, the Balthier ranged DPS gear.
Yeah.
I hope Striking or Ninja gets it because I don't like playing ranged.
Maybe a reskin of it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just like 6 different versions of Balthier's gear.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh man. And then you have the new dungeon, the Gimlet Dark, which is present in the trailer for 5.0.
Sure. Yep.
It looks to be the location where the allied the Eorzean Alliance, or the I guess the whatever it's called now with authored mixed in the bunch, takes on the Emperor. I don't know. I looked like that at first. And I was like, it resembles that, but it also resembles the area where we see the scene with the Karibu thing.
A little bit.
Yeah. Less so than the other location. I'm just wondering what this actually is. I haven't looked at the second lore book to see if it mentions anything about the Gimlet Dark. But I don't think it would.
I've skimmed. I haven't seen anything either.
Yeah, I don't think it would anyway, because why would they tell us that before we even get it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like... I don't know. I feel like it's probably not as conventional as it's just an area that exists. If it is, it's in the shrouded area of Ilsabard. So we'll see where that actually is. And honestly, if it's going to be anywhere, I feel like it'd have to be east of Alamigo, because
I think so too.
Because what's the point in us fighting to the northwest of Doma? Because that place is safe. Like, we're good. They literally can't go past that point now.
Yeah.
So, we'll have to see what it is, or if we become the Warrior of Darkness there. We start becoming the Warrior of Darkness there. Ooh. And then I think, and then we got, even further Hildebrand adventures. Yeah. So, Slyh and I beat Yojimbo at FanFest, and I don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it either, because the thing about it is nobody on Reddit, I believe, has spoiled it.
I'm sure somebody's posted about it on Reddit. With a spoiler tag, maybe, though.
Nobody in chat. Don't do it.
In chat. No.
Like, I'm gonna talk about it at some point, but not yet. It's not like it's gonna be a earth-shattering revelation.
No.
But I didn't expect it. I definitely didn't. Yeah, he killed Dumbledore. That's right. That's the spoiler. Yojimbo he was paid to kill Dumbledore by Snape. That's how it actually happened.
But my kind of reaction to it was, and just kept going. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we managed to. Yeah, we were the last group that cleared it. They let us go an extra few minutes because we died the first couple. I know, like, a tank let one of them get loose. Yeah.
Keybinds were fucked. Nobody had LB.
God. Yeah, healer LB. Shit, it's not on my bar. I had to put it on my bar in the middle of the fight for the same reason.
We were at the point where a fucking melee could LB, but no.
No, we weren't at the point where a melee could have LB'd to win. I'm talking about not on the win. Yeah, we waited pretty late for the melee LB, but it was fun. What I'll definitely say is, if you've never done Hildebrand before, I would probably go get all of 2.x and 3.x and 4.x done.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go get that done right about now. And with that, we all get to start experiencing some of this content starting in early January of 2019. As we expected.
Yeah.
By the second Tuesday of January. Kingdom Hearts 3, Eat Your Heart Out. Late March 2019 will be the second half, which will have the second half of the main scenario quests. It'll have probably Hildebrand and Hydatos and some of the other stuff. And by then, we'll be completely done with Blue Mage, so we'll have plenty of time for it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Blue Mage. Sorry. Didn't mean it. I did mean it, but And those cover the majority of the points. There was a bunch of other panels that we'll probably take some time to speak about in the coming weeks across the shows. There was a lore panel which had a hilarious incident that was brought to light. The result of which was unveiled during the live letter with possibly the best item description of all time.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
There was a bunch of like merchandise announcements where they said the lore book had sold out. They announced that, the next Fan Fest, what dates they were, the bike and Tifa being available, the Zep tour for the Primals with the background, with the behind the scenes footage, becoming available. And then we had the Q&A section, which most of the questions weren't terrible in the Q&A section, but they specifically said don't ask us 5.0 or Blue Mage questions because we have FanFest and that. So what we were going to get, some of them were pretty neat. Like one of them, guys asked if we could change the color of AoEs for people who are colorblind because the settings maybe weren't good enough. That was a good question. Asking about tank stats again, which is something we've asked a million times, but we never get a good answer with it. So they addressed that they are going to be looking into it. Seasonal events. The question asked if seasonal event like the Haunted Mansion could be put in the gold saucer, and he said no. But they have to restructure. Yeah. But he did tease that the Starlight Celebration is going to have its own instance.
Yeah.
In that.
What was another good one?
L's and necks. Fucking L's and necks.
More glamour plates.
Yeah, more glamour plates. Job identity, specifically white mage job identity, which they just said whatever, 5.0 is coming, we'll do some shit. Can you rebuild the Realm Reborn quests again? And they said they've already considered it. They just don't know when they're going to do it. Right now, they're focusing on Shadowbringers. The 011 Savage Fist mechanic, picking the same people with the same comps and everything. Yeah. Might be a bug.
That was fun.
Oh, man. What else is there? Warring Triad mounts and their music, Soken brought up because he just felt like he absolutely needed to bring it up. More character customization options. Glamour plates, as you mentioned, which they actually did a shout vote on for what they should work on next. Cross-race characters and character customization. How much time has passed in Eorzea. Large-scale realm versus realm PvP. And ISPs. Like, about, communicating with ISPs to help with issues. Yep. And he gave a very political answer to that, but the most correct answer he could have possibly given.
Yeah.
Nothing too fancy. A few points that just kind of needed to be picked up again, because if we don't ask him every now and again, we feel like maybe he's not thinking about them. And that's it.
Yeah.
That was Q&A.
That's it.
There's another place where we got to ask some questions.
There is.
So I'm sure some of you have heard about this already, but we were invited to a closed doors press conference at a fan festival, to which none of this was NDA. We were able to go on and talk about it immediately. There was no NDA on the event.
We did.
And oh boy, did we start talking about it immediately. So there were some pretty decent questions. I have my notepad over there that has all the answers and questions in them.
Yeah, I have.
And you have the Gamer Escape article up, I'm assuming? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, I asked about, what's the plan for Ultimate going into 5.x, because they skipped 4.5, and then they kind of talked about feedback based on 4.3, saying everyone wants a third one, and they heard that feedback, and they would, take it into consideration for 5.x, which I read as we might possibly get 3 Ultimates in 5.x. Because they said, we did UCOB, and we got this one feedback, but after Uwu, everyone's like, no, we need a third one, and we were like, shit, it's too late, we canceled that already. So we'll take that into consideration for 5.x. There was some other, there was a bunch of pretty good questions in there, actually. Slyh, any questions in there you liked? And I mean for real, not the thing I'm leading into.
No. I asked personally about the in-game content for Disciple of Hand, Disciple of Land. And like I said, it's going to be pretty much like Domin Enclave. But that's bragging, right? Simple question about adding more content similar to Rathalos, which I definitely am interested in. I know they will be. The interesting question about why no Spanish language option. I never really thought too much about that until that got asked.
Yeah, I feel like everyone wants their language supported, but Spanish to us, like, here in America especially, like, Spanish is over 50% of our population.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer.
Right.
That's a huge market.
So,
right.
For an NA FanFest question especially, it felt very fitting. Like, not looking into other countries that, speak Spanish, so it made total sense. Yeah. Any questions you really liked, Merri?
So I wanted to ask about 4-man content, and someone did, just not as
you wanted to.
Yeah, not as fleshed out as I would have gone. They specifically only mentioned Rathalos Extreme, and I feel like Yoshipi's answer could have been taken like, we're not going to do more Monster Hunter stuff like that. I wanted to go more like, can we get scaling dungeons like Mythic Plus and stuff like that? But I didn't get called on, so I didn't get to ask that. But that one was one I wanted to ask, and so at least getting kind of like, we don't really have plans for challenging 4-man content going into Shadowbringers right away. At least that was answered. So,
And then we get to the question that's on everyone's mind.
Oh, wait, so you got to do this right. You got to bring it up.
So
you got to go through.
No, hold on. Let me explain what the question was.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna pull up the thing you want me to pull up.
Okay. Yeah.
So in this 1 hour of time we had after the announcement of our next expansion pack, and on the eve of learning the truth of Blue Mage and getting our first preview in 4.5, somebody thought it would be fitting to ask Yoshida, and forcing his translator to go through this while we were at it.
Mm-hmm.
I may. Very sorry. What his stance was on people who were holding brothels in game for paid RMT sex acts.
Paid in-game sex. No. That was consensual.
Oh no, we're getting to that part, Sly. We're getting to that part.
We didn't even. Yeah. That was later.
Yeah, that was hours later. About 6-7 minutes into the explanation, Yoshida had very politely explained how a user agreement in terms of service works. And that how, sometimes laws are different in different countries. So, maybe in one country, it's, more acceptable than in another country. And then the guy, after Yoshida finished answering, goes, well, no, I mean, it's consensual. It's paid, but it's consensual. To which Yoshida replied, moshne, which means, yeah, no to that too.
Yeah, no.
So a lot of us were sitting there taking notes for most of the questions, and with me, I have the notes of our very own Merri right here. And these notes start from before the question was asked. So you're going to see some of his notes here on some of the previous topics.
I got bad handwriting when I'm writing fast. I'm sorry.
So do I. Don't worry. Mine doesn't look much different than this. So, this is, as the Q&A is going, area will not be disclosed yet for the next expansion zones. Was intentional. New PvP info later. Hold on. It's not letting me actually. I set up a scroll thing. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. There we go. New PvP info later. Nothing until Shadowbringers. All right. That's pretty good. It fit. Wait. Something if
Oceanic servers?
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's some bottleneck, obvious stuff. Oceanic servers, maybe they're aware of latency issues. Trust me, not meant to pull away from MMO aspects of the game. This was in regards to trust. Sort of a buffer or, for a tutorial for new players to ease into multiplayer. Job balance and meta is pretty evenly spread. And so I think when the actual question got asked by now while I'm scrolling through this.
There's more.
Yeah, so we got a yikes. We got a yikes right here, 4 exclamation marks and 4 underlines, consistent. ERP dude question mark. Woo lads, WTF, 1 exclamation mark, 2 lines, but they become a squiggly. And zoom into 1. And I think you had real notes under this for the next question.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and that's in regard to my ultimate question after that. So, what we're calling this question the Great Yikes of 2018, of FanFest 2018, because
So there's a story behind this. I was sitting next to Golden Tot and Larry Czar, and I was just like, I didn't want to say anything, right? And so I'm like looking at him, I'm like writing in the book and like talking to him through these notes, basically. And something else to kind of set the mood of like this whole thing. Every previous question, the room was dead silent during Yoshi P's answers or when people were asking questions because it was respectable. Everyone's like, okay. The second this guy started talking, there was just a low murmur across the entire room for like the entire question.
My recording picked it up.
Just this murmur just picked up.
Did you listen to it again?
Yeah, I had to just to make sure I heard like some of the answers and everything. And like even my whisper to like you and Miz, because Miz was right beside me and
Miz was sitting between us, and Slyh and I just kept looking at each other. We're just like, he's still going.
He's still going.
He's still. It's still.
Mike looked at me. Like Mike looks at me and says, "I had to waste ink on this shit."
Yeah.
Like, I know.
And when we say, by the way, we were quiet is a pretty relative term because we were all looking around at each other and had a few choice words.
Side conversations. We were having side conversations. Like, and I hated that I don't hate it that I recorded it because I was recording it for the purpose of transcribing.
Yeah, and you had to waste your phone data. You're not your phone data. You had to waste your phone space on it.
There's like people stifling laughs and stuff. It was a trip. It was a trip.
I remember Tate just looking back and going like, you have 1 fucking hour to ask a question, and this is the best shit you can come up with.
Yeah.
He said it loud enough for me to hear.
I think that's how everyone felt. It's just like,
yeah,
it was quite literally disrespectful to everybody there. It was just a waste of time.
Everyone, like that time, the time that you used to ask the question and the time he took to politely answer the question could have been used on your question or a even better question.
Or any question.
Any question.
Instead of clickbait.
No, with exceptions, because this is the exception to the rule. There are certain questions that you don't ask, and this is one of them. I really felt like he was memeing. Just for
it's also just an uncomfortable question. Like that's just
it is.
It's no.
It is. That's why you read terms of service. That's why you ask it.
That's why you don't fucking show up to this shit. Don't even go. If this is the best question you come up with, don't even go.
Everyone knows that's of course that's not supported by Square Enix. Of course not.
Dude, Peaches is now brothels. Like, we got to replace Peaches term because now there's a whole nother tier of called brothels.
No. Kevin Hart, pineapples for obvious reasons.
Pineapples. I don't want it. No. Oh my God, no. Pineapples.
No.
I don't.
No.
God.
Yeah.
So bad. And within minutes, Ethos was like, some Muppet, as on Twitter, he's like, some Muppet thought to ask.
Yep.
The question was, what was Yoshi P's stance on paid sex acts in game? RMT sex acts and brothels.
Like, his
that
initial
was the question.
thing too, his initial thing was like, how do you feel about people having cyber sex in game? He used that word, and it's just
right.
Oh, why did you say that?
This is why this can't fit into a 2-hour show, by the way, because we really want to keep going on this.
Yeah,
we really want to go in.
So, on that lovely note, thanks everyone for watching this week.
Yeah,
we really wanted to share that story and the great yikes of 2018 with you. So, Merri's gonna have to get going for raids soon, and I still have quite a bit of outro to do regarding thanking people on Patreon and whatnot. So I'm gonna do that, Merri. Then we can all sign off, and then you can go get to your raid team and
sounds good.
And then have to still deal with the great yikes of 2018. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so first off, as a reminder, everyone, Steel Series does sponsor the show. Every week we do make mention of this, but if you go to the YouTube video, you will find a giveaway link. Steel Series gives away one item of your choice, $79.99 USD or less every week. They support my channel. They sponsor State of the Realm, and so go win some free shit because there's no reason not to. And if you don't, Black Friday's on Friday, so !Steel Series, #plug. So always works great for me. Then we also have our Patreon sponsors. Now, I haven't really gotten to update this since being away. I know there's definitely a couple names missing because I got emails in the middle of the show. So those will be remedied for next week. I think also the images for our sponsors are probably from the previous weeks as well. But first up, we want to thank our Patreon sponsors who've been supporting through #demonetized and now #fucking brothels. Now taking all your money and I'm going to a fucking brothel. How about that? That's what the show is for, is State of the Brothels from now on. We have our... God, we have our God damn it! Now my stop. We got Vieira soon too. It's gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse. It gets worse before it gets better. Oh man! All right. So anyway, I have our list of our patrons. We have first our patron of light. We have our first patron of light, Khuja Cross on Jenova. Yeah, this is definitely a picture from a few weeks ago, but all the same, Khuja, thank you for supporting the stream as a patron of light. Somebody emailed me about patron of light. I'm saying it live on the show so you know about it, that I did see the message and will be responding in time. You can use this to hold me accountable. We also have our second patron of light, Kurenai Oni, who also takes good pictures if it would properly adjust to the next one. And this one makes me a little hungrier. So I like catfish. So that's all I need. ate at Gordon Ramsay's, and now I want exotic foods and delicious foods all the time. So thank you, Kurenai. Thank you, Khuja Cross, for supporting as the patrons of light throughout these last several times of show and words, and I need to sleep. We also have the rest of our... I didn't sleep much last night either, because my fucking cat's an asshole, as you've all been able to tell. The show. He's been doing it since we got back. He misses mommy and daddy. Oh, aloha, Dwayne the Cat Johnson. Anyway, so we have our standard State of the Realm sponsors. We have Carol, Ray, Senchi, Shadowlink, Ontonberry, Dom, Asuka Wake from Jenova, Lemillion Never Midgood Stormer, Serrha and the Fennel Family, Janhyua Yotsuyu, Kifca and the Great Eagles on Exodus, Darkgraver, Katayoshi from Khuja, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rylanator, Westaus, the Purple Warrior, Eadric, Redsteele on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiark, Pharos, I see you making emotes in the chat, Sour Cream and Chives from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Goetia Valfer of Serren, Phoenix Down FC on Goblin, and Serren from Zodiark. We have our elite State of the Realm sponsors: Alchemy, Shinka, Casual Heroes, FC on Midgard Stormer, Tatachi Taka on Hyperion, Kano Uzuki of Jenova, U Starlon, Coral, Sathal, Sarah Frost from Behemoth, Holy Tabasco, Red Thorn Serrha, Crash 015, Mel just yelled at the cat, Mustang, Serenity FC on Ultros, Cat Kazuma, Agnes Fairgun from Excalibur, Blaster of Vanford, Knockforge from Excalibur, Corvus Moonscar, Private Mikey, Spike, Nani Kirisabi, Rudy Rudiger, Tick Colossus, Killer Hackman, Roll Jr., and Killtastic Jones. Stop spamming, PogChamp. I can see your physical fucking face.
Thank you so much to everyone who supports the podcast and hashtag demonetized. Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah. And now, so you wanted more of him during the show, and so I figure we'll blow that beautiful mug up to full screen so you can listen to him as he does his closeout for the show. So, Merri, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at with Ethis and his wiener?
You can find Ethis and his wiener and me all together at twitch.tv/very_Merri on basically every platform: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's it. All three. Not anything else. So not every platform, but
that's all the good ones, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
The easy ones.
Yeah. Slyh, where do they find you at?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox, Twitter at Slythefox, youtube.com/development facebook.com/Slyakagreyfox, Instagram at Slyakagreyfox07. It's a weird week because it's Thanksgiving. So, there's that and Black Friday and all that. Tomorrow I'll be back on 14 doing some lockouts and pyros, but I will be giving away some merch to those who may not have been able to get to FanFest, but I bought like an extra set of shirts to give away. So I got a set for myself and a set to give away. So if you want a chance at that, feel free to come by the stream and, hang out and whatnot, and you might win a shirt. Side note, Europe just got their merch announced, and they get a lot of.
Oh, they got some great shit.
Oh God, if that goes up, I'm ordering all that shit. But yeah,
hell yeah.
But and again, like to those watching from Square, quick shout out and thank you so much for allowing us to go out there and do our thing and see everything and experience everything. Like it gets better every single time, and meeting all of you who were out there, like that just really makes it worth it. Like taking pictures, shaking hands, giving hugs, just like we ain't shit. We just fucking play the game and we tell our opinions. So thank you for fucking making me feel special and like giving me like confirming why I do what I do. Just thank you, everyone. And Mike,
you fucking stole all my words, son of a bitch.
I didn't even say anything because I didn't know we were doing that.
You can if you want. Here, Merri, you want to go again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on. I gotta. There you go.
Oh,
there you go. You can go again.
Okay. Thank you, everybody who came and said hi, or took a photo, or shook my hand, or gave me a hug, or gave me encouraging words, or offered to buy me alcohol. I really appreciated that. Thanks for making this fan fest the best one for me yet. It was a lot of fun. I was super grateful to see everybody. Even like a few people will stop me, you know, they're like, oh, you look like you're really busy, but can I take a picture? And it's like, yes, let's go. It's always just unbelievable. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so nice to me. You guys are too good.
And thank you for that hot dog for giving me this picture.
Yeah. He loves it. He loves that wiener.
He really does. I can see it.
I told him, I was like, put the wiener in your face. He's like, okay.
Well, he'll always say yes to that. That's
you're right. You're right.
That's never a surprise.
Yeah.
Is it my turn again yet?
Yes.
Yes. It's your turn.
I went back. I doubled back. So I'm like, all right, there we go. Hello, I'm Mr. Happy. You can find me Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, as I say pretty much every week. And echoing what Slyh said, this was easily the best fan fest of the bunch. I owe that a lot to the people. Everyone was incredibly respectful through, you know, whether it be seeing that I was busy and understanding maybe they find me later, and they made sure to find me later, and I never had any issues. And everyone was always very kindly asking me things. No one tried to take up, you know, no one tried to hog me all to themselves. Everyone was so respectful. And on top of that, I want to add an additional shout out to the team at Square Enix, you know, the North American community team, and everyone who was working. But I know a ton of people from Square Enix who were working there, the people at PR, some of my other people that I've worked with through various other projects, Josh, who I got to say hello to pretty much as we were going to do the Ojimbo challenge. But this was incredible. This was easily the most smoothly run one. I got to actually enjoy it instead of it being a fucking line simulator the whole time. It was amazing. And all the events were unique, and they came up with so many new and creative ideas. It was the best one for me. And that motorcycle that passed a few seconds ago probably thought so too. So
fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. And so it was great. I wouldn't have changed anything about what happened except for me winning $1,000 and not tequila. That's the only thing I would have changed. Pretty much.
Hashtag tequila
slots. There you go. That's the only thing I would have changed about the whole thing. Even then, still get to be happy for him. Got to see a ton of friends, have some awesome meals. Even got to go see a concert after FanFest was all said and done. Not even the Primals. Went to go see a Perfect Circle. I had no fucking idea who they were, but it was a great concert. So it worked out pretty much in the case. So this was like the closest I've ever had to a vacation as much as it was work at the same time. And I still haven't fucking slept very much since FanFest began. So I'm running on fumes right now. So thank you, everybody. It was fantastic. I want to make an active effort to go to the Paris one as well. I want to see if there's any way that can be done, if I can make the trip out in February, because I do have a lot of people who are European who watch our stream as well, and I'd like to pay them the same respects that everyone paid to me at the North American one. So I'm going to try to make that happen next year. And if I do, hope to see you then. If not, Shadowbringers will have a huge launch event again. So we'll have a damn good time. Yeah, him too. He wants to do it too. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I'd love to. Cool, I don't know why we're whispering.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I was like,
Paris, okay, but yeah, I was going to notice anyway. So yeah, thank you everyone for an incredible live letter and opening keynote and fan fest and everything. With that, we're gonna get going to American Go Raid. Next week's show may elaborate on some of the topics we discussed this week, but the odds are we're going to be going over one of our favorite pieces of merchandise to come out of said fan fest. Eorzea Encyclopedia Volume 2. There you go. Yeah, it could have been the first volume, and I was just lying, for all anyone knows. So yeah, Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 2. Ethos will be back next week, so we'll be able to do a lot of lore discussions regarding that, and probably touch upon the lore panel itself, since that's a very Ethos-esque thing to go over. So anyway, Merri, thank you for joining us this week. Enjoy your raid, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week for the next day of the run. So everyone, have a good night, and until next time, take care.
See you later. I'm waving, but no one can see me.
It's all right. They could just imagine you're waving at this as we
Yeah. What?